Hello one, hello all, welcome to the second of 5 installments of the List 2017. CP counts down top to bottom, bottom to top. Let's get right into it. Number 60. Happy Death Day, a movie that is by no stretch a fresh idea. As a matter of fact, I saw two films in 2017 that have a very Groundhog Day-y vibe to it. Again, the lack of freshness may hurt the film, but it's harmless and it's fun. I think it's more funny than it is a horror movie. So for those looking for a Groundhog Day in a horror type setting, this may not completely satisfy you. But I think the film doesn't try to take itself too seriously. At least I hope not, because they definitely make a straight reference to Groundhog Day, and it's just, no, you bothered me there. Harmless. This is another one of those movies where other people's opinion definitely affected how I felt about a film going into it, or what I was expecting going into it. And I had a lot of praise from a lot of people that I talked to, and that was kind of in the back of my head. It's an all right film. I just feel like there's a chunk in the middle that doesn't need to be. The movie's well over 2 hours, and there's this stretch. It's a dude who goes to jail, but there's a portion where he goes to a minimum security jail to build up to the Cell Block 99 part. I felt like that whole middle chunk was just so unnecessary. For a bunch of reasons, because I felt like whatever they had to say in that part, they could have just tacked on to the second part. But other than that, it was okay, a bit long. But yeah, like I said in the other video, at this point, these are movies that I had an okay time with. It's just not, they're not things I won't see again. They're just things that I'd prefer to watch something else. Not great, and certainly not horrible. Number 8, number 58, number the F8 of the Furious. I would have liked it better if it was the Fast and Furiate, because that is funner for me, at least. Yeah, it's becoming like Rocky IV levels of, oh, okay, they're just not really paying attention to any sort of reality here. I mean, a submarine chases a bunch of cars, and spoiler, the cars make it. A Lamborghini door is used as a shield and holds up against missiles. So I've only seen it once. It certainly has a mindless fun to it, but there's just better movie experiences for what I'm looking for. I'm not saying that I won't watch this again. I'm not saying that I didn't have a good time with it. It's just, you have to be in the right mood for stuff like this, is my opinion. And again, I'm not saying it's terrible. It's just you have to have the right hat on to really be invested in what's going on without saying, really with this. We're not done with the Netflix stuff. Another Netflix documentary, which I don't think I'm done with. I think there's at least one more on this list. Get Me, Roger Stone, which is a decent documentary. Lets you in on a person who helped Richard Nixon get elected, and turns out he helped Donald Trump get elected. The personality behind this person is quite something to behold. It's more he does, the cameras are rolling, and you just kind of are in awe of this dude and what he does and who he is. But again, didn't have a terrible time with it. It was quite an interesting look. Who knows what would have been of this film if Trump did not get elected. It would just be oh, this guy, failed. But yeah, just so much about the election and or things in politics for the last 2 years that are quite captivating, and this is certainly a chunk of that. Nothing spectacular, but intriguing enough nonetheless. Here's the other film that was like Groundhog Day. Before I Fall, which does the Groundhog Day thing a bit closer. I don't know if Groundhog Day is the be-all, end-all for these types of movies, but Before I Fall felt a bit more cohesive, didn't wander too much from its own little timeline and rules, but done differently, a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more modern day teen melodramatic. So yeah, it's done a little bit better. You're not having quite as much fun one way or another as, say, something like Happy Death Day, but it's a more cohesive film. Granted, I'm a male who's well past the teenage years, so it didn't hit me as well as perhaps it may some of you who are a bit younger. That's that. The Discovery, which in theory is a really, really good idea, and for the most part, I would say the first act, maybe first half, maybe even first 2 acts, there's something there that's really unique. I guess I wanted it to go in a certain direction and it didn't, and I was kind of a tad frustrated with it, but it's not fantastic and it's not horrible, but it's something that I think if you have any sort of intrigue, it may be worth the watch just to see perhaps if you like the way that things go, because it's unique. I keep talking about freshness, and it certainly feels familiar, but at the same time they're doing things a little bit freshly. So yeah, not incredible, but certainly interesting. I don't know if a ranking like this is due to just how far we've come. See, like this could be the counter to Cult of Chucky. Cult of Chucky, the last we were with that series, it was quite a high place. Jigsaw, the last we were left with that series, not as much. So at the very least, Jigsaw, granted, no matter how much retconning, how much rewinding, how many different things they're going backwards with this story, it's still better than 7. I would say it's the best Saw movie in, I don't know, the last half of the series. They all kind of blend together for me after 5, 6, 7, just kind of a mush of not so much. But Jigsaw is okay. It's an okay time. And we're in the 50s here, so if you're really that bothered by my ranking one way or another, we're gonna get better, worse. I don't know. It was Jigsaw. I didn't have much invested into it. Perhaps that's the way to watch movies these days. Speaking of not having much invested in stuff, Bruce Willis somehow still makes movies.
Who wrote this thing, by the way?
It's a really good rental, a really good Netflix type movie. It's a really good movie to watch in your home, because John Goodman steals this movie. B, Bruce Willis is still asleep at the wheel, but he's not completely sleepwalking. So I'd argue that somebody like Bruce Willis, mailing it in, still has a lot more charisma than, I don't know, half the guys who are trying their ass off.
Do I come down to the strip club where you work and knock the dick out of your mouth?
Nothing exciting, nothing crazy. A good Sunday afternoon movie if you haven't seen anything else and you want to see Bruce Willis and John Goodman go at it. John Goodman really, like I said, he steals this movie from me. But nothing extravagant. Another movie that's nothing new, nothing that's going to jump out at you and say, oh my God, that was so creative. I've never seen that before. Another film that I didn't see in the theaters, I guess thankfully, kind of paint by numbers, bad cop does things for different reasons movie, but harmless. A time killer. This chunk could be a bunch of time killers. I guess that's what we'll say about the list thus far in this little chunk, is just a bunch of movies that you could do worse, and if you just want to kill time, they're good for that. This is another movie that affected the way I was perceiving it to be, because of the strong critics scores for it. It was in the 80s for Rotten Tomatoes, and I thought, wow, this should be something impressive, and it's just again nothing fresh. Take a shot every time I say fresh in this video. Middle-aged man takes his son to college and realizes that there's so much that he didn't do that his son's gonna do, and midlife crisis movie insert story here. Ben Stiller's done better. Ben Stiller is quickly turning into the actor version of M. Night, where I don't remember the last time he was in something. Actually, you know what? So I watched the wrong Ben Stiller movie this year. That appears to be what this comes down to. Call your cardiologist.
First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
The Mummy. Yes, it certainly could be lower as far as some of you are concerned. It could be higher. It's number 50 out of 80 on my list. It was okay. Was it, Universal Classic Monsters? No. But it was Tom Cruise in a fun little action movie that has elements of horror in it. And I don't know, you want to talk about charisma? I was talking about charisma before with Bruce Willis. I can watch Tom Cruise read the Bible. Like, he's just fun to watch.
Fucking zoo's closed, right?
Tame the cunt! There was so much negativity that I was expecting this horrible train wreck, and it's just, yes, it's too actiony if you're looking for a horror, but a decent time. Go back and watch Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, and then let me know how serious that movie is. It's okay. It's a shame that they put so much behind this, but otherwise it's a Sunday movie. I'd rather watch Clue.
That's not 6.
1 + 2 + 2 + 1.
There was only one shot that got the chandelier. That's 1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
Even if you were right, that would be 1 + 1 + 2 + 1, not 1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
Okay, fine. 1 + 2 + 1. Shut up!
Whodunit, and when they kind of explain what happens, it's not that big a deal to me. So I don't know. There was something in the execution somewhere between the second and third act that kind of I stopped caring about. But it looked pretty at the very least. That's what I'll say about this movie. But otherwise, just something that I don't know, unnecessary. I haven't seen the original, so take that with a grain of salt. It's another one of those things where, oh, I like this type of movie. I'd rather watch something like Clue. Number 48, another movie that influence probably had something to do with where it goes on my list. A lot of people, especially in Killer Flicks, the Facebook group, sang this movie's praise. Babysitter. It's okay. I don't know what it's in some people's top 5 for horror this year. It's in some people's top 10 for the year. It's fun. It felt a little like something like out of the 80s, like Monster Squad, if somebody had a really nice budget and wanted to polish it and look pretty. McG, for whoever doesn't like what he does, his movies look shiny and pretty, and this is no different. The thing I didn't like so much about the movie, which again, we're at a point where I'm okay with the movie, I'm just not gaga over it. What I didn't like about the babysitter was the relationship between the babysitter and the kid. In the beginning, they lead you to believe that there's some sort of bond which goes somewhere else. I can't spoil it, but that kind of goes somewhere different. Just a little too on the hokey side for my taste. Perhaps I was ill prepared for this. Perhaps I was expecting something a little more serious, but maybe on a second watch with the silliness expected, perhaps I could appreciate it more. Yet another Netflix documentary, Saving Capitalism. I don't know how many of these I'm gonna watch, or maybe people will watch before somebody starts realizing that the financial situation in the U.S. is really tilted. It's nothing new. Again, it's nothing that hasn't been spoken about in documentaries. You could see inside job shit. You want to see a fictional version of it? Go watch.
Object to the test.
Go watch The Big Short. There's a bunch of these types of documentaries that are basically saying, hey, the rich, the upper 1%, it's slanted and it's not getting better. This film tries to explain a bit why, and how capitalism is needs to be repaired in this country, and the message gets across nicely. Again, it's nothing fresh. I don't think it's gonna do any damage. Not like Gasland. Gasland, that was a brilliant documentary, and at least it made a dent. Stuff like this, I don't think people care enough. The documentary about the behind-the-scenes footage of Jim Carrey staying in character during filming of Man on the Moon. Again, another Netflix documentary. Good time, interesting, a little self-serving if you ask me, but unique, funny when it needs to be, and yeah, there's not much to it. It's Jim Carrey staying in character as Andy Kaufman during the filming of Man on the Moon. If you haven't seen Man on the Moon or don't know who Andy Kaufman is, you might be thoroughly lost. So I would hope you would have some sort of knowledge of either, if not both, before watching this. A neat companion piece. This documentary should be on some sort of special edition of Man on the Moon. If Criterion pumps Man on the Moon out, this would be a perfect special feature. Colossal, a unique idea on two different genres that aren't exactly fresh, but the combination makes it fresh. So yeah, really, I don't know how to explain this. Go watch the trailer, and if you're intrigued by it, then certainly check the movie out. Anne Hathaway doesn't get enough credit, I don't think. A lot of people give her the snobby roles mantra that she only takes the Oscar bait, the award bait movies. But this was a perfectly fun time. Jason Sudeikis is another guy who a lot funnier and a lot better an actor than he gets credit for. But an overall okay time, and again something fresh-ish. A movie that a lot of people have gone gaga for, which the movie's good. I wish they stayed on the relationship, or not the relationship, how things were going with Steve Carell's character and the other female tennis players. I saw a documentary about this situation a couple of months back before I saw Battle of the Sexes, and it would have been neat for Steve Carell to be the absolute villain, which they just don't do in this movie.
I declare bankruptcy!
And another thing that kind of perplexed me a bit was they focused more on Billie Jean King's curiosity into lesbianism a bit too much. Because if the film's called Battle of the Sexes and focuses on you know the tennis match that kind of shifted things, then you know, have it be about that. Have Steve Carell be the villain, and yeah, the personal stories shouldn't be so heavy. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be there. I just felt like it was Billie Jean King comes out, the film otherwise titled Battle of the Sexes. I don't want to call it fun because the subject matter is kind of creepy, but in the modern day where you know, we're in a community where it's fairly easy to meet people that you talk to on a computer. It's a movie that explores stalking in modern day, that it doesn't seem as stalkerish because of the easy accessibility we have to each other. But it's still stalking. It's just disguised differently, and this film does a really unique job of exploring that. I guess that's all I could say about that without getting too deep. I think at this stage, the Letterboxd scores of these movies is like 3.5 stars for me. So I just saw a lot of really good movies this year. I guess that's what it comes down to. I saw it. I had to go to New York City to see it in one of the 3 theaters that it was playing in on the East Coast. So a lot of you weren't able to see this in 2017, but it's my list, so it was my 2017. I would give this movie a lot more credit, and it would be higher on my list if they gave a definite sort of ending or went a definite route with this, because it's based on a true story, based on a true person. But it's a little too ambiguous for me. If you're gonna show the beginnings, the origins of somebody who's actually a person and actually did things, then I don't feel like you can be ambiguous with reasons why they did something, because we could all theorize like that. If you're gonna tell me a story, at least have a little focus about it. Other than that, the story's incredible. I'm really curious to see how somebody feels about this movie. Like Jace, a friend from Australia, has no idea about the Jeffrey Dahmer, the murderer, has no idea about the story behind this guy. So I'm really curious to see how he feels about this movie and how it plays as a movie exclusively, because knowing what I know about the guy and what happens, I just felt a little ripped off towards the end. I don't mean ripped off, it's just ambiguous. It ends, it's not that it ends ambiguously. I mean, you know where things are gonna go, which they don't really show you, by the way. They just kind of suggest that the reason he did the things he did was a couple of things, one of a couple of things. And that, I just wish they kind of paid off one of those. Even if they're wrong, just pay it off and let me wrap up the story. And for the last film on this section, Life, also known as Bootleg Alien. There's people that think that Alien Covenant was a horrible mess, and my answer to that person is, well, then watch Life, because you'll get some of what you're looking for, unless of course you only want xenomorphs, and that is not present here in Life. But Life explores a couple of different things, and it's people trapped on a spaceship with something that they don't understand that's trying to kill them. Sound familiar? Okay, so that's it for this list. If you've seen any of the films that I saw, do me a favor, comment down below, let me know what you thought. Again, nobody answered this on the last video. This is only a couple days later. Let me know what your least favorite film of 2017 is. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Click that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this to let me know to keep going. Check out all my other shit. I'm just getting back into this. This is a second legit video that I'll be pumping out within a week. So we're getting back into the swing of things. Hopefully I'll have this entire list done by the end of January. We'll see how that goes. A special thank you to patron Lindsay Pankhurst, who celebrates 1 year. 1 year of being a patron on this channel. That's, I can't say thank you enough. Somebody who, I mean, shit, I didn't keep my Horror Block subscription for 12 months. The fact that I've had support from somebody for a full calendar year is more than impressive, more than humbling. Lindsay, you know I love you, but here is your formal 1 year patron shout out. Thank you so much for your support in every sense of the word. Until next time, have a day. I saw two films with a very similar. If the film's called Battle of the Sexes and it's about this tennis match,